In this video, you're going to discover how to save hundreds of hours by outsourcing blog and SEO content for your website to boost your organic rankings and drive more traffic without writing a single word. So maybe you don't like writing, you procrastinate it, you don't know what to write, or you just don't have the time. Whatever it is, you will never have to write again after watching this video. And this is extremely useful if you're publishing content for your site, or maybe you want to get more organic traffic. Whatever it is, this video is going to help you. Plus, by the end of it, you'll learn how to outsource the whole process to your virtual assistant to save you hundreds of hours of time. But before we jump in, please make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. So how does the 4-stage blueprint work? Well, essentially it's going to save you hundreds of hours, plus it's cheap content, you don't need to pay much at all, and it's going to make hiring high quality writers extremely easy. And the 4 steps basically are, first of all, you're going to hire and find the writer. Then you're going to give them a brief on how you want the article written. Third up, you're going to create a blog outline, which takes about 2 minutes. And finally, you're going to outsource the whole process so that once it's set up, you never need to touch it again, and it'll generate high quality SEO content for your website without you touching it. Okay, so for step 1, you're going to head on over to Upwork.com. If you haven't already signed up for an account, make sure you sign up before following on this video. And then just click on Post a Job here. And basically, we're going to advertise and find writers that we need for outsourcing to our team. But there's a very select method for this. And if you follow the same steps I use, then you're going to be able to find high quality writers for a very affordable price that can actually follow instructions. So this will help you filter out the good writers from the bad ones. So click on create a new job post. And actually, for the sake of this video, I'm going to use an existing post so that you can see how I've managed to attract writers before. So click on continue here. In the title, just put something basic like, are you a blog writer? Simple, straight to the point. I usually categorize it as content writing because that's what you're trying to get. Then click on next. And in this section, this is basically the job advert, right? So you can see it's pretty short. There's nothing magical about it, but it does the job. So what you're going to do is basically change this to whatever niche that you're in. And here you can see like a list of bullet points, right? So I've used these to make sure that the writer understands their expectations of the job and also how it's going to work. And plus that, we've included a bullet point here about how to follow instructions, right? Because a lot of writers, when they're on Upwork, they're just blasting out proposals without even looking at the job description. So we want to make sure they've actually read the job description so that we know, first of all, they can follow instructions, but also that they take a bit of care in their work. So that's why I've mentioned including rock at the start of their application. And then I've also included some other benefits too, just to make sure that the job is more interesting to them. So like they'll get weekly projects and regular work. You know, if they're a good fit, I can land them more work with my friends. And that, you know, I'm easygoing and easy to work with. And then also at the bottom here, we've included information about how much you're going to get paid. This is actually, in general, for writing blog content online, it's actually quite a cheap rate. Any less than that, I tend to find the quality dips pretty badly. So that's why I stick to $50 for 2,000 words. And then the call to action, let's talk, right? So we'll click on next here. Details, it's going to be an ongoing project because you're going to be hiring them regularly. I don't usually include any screening questions simply because the bullet point about including rock at the start of the application is enough to screen people out. But also, when we start talking to them directly, we'll ask them a few questions and it'll be much easier. The other thing is, well, if you add too many screening questions, it's going to put some writers off because this isn't a particularly well-paid job, and therefore, when they see a whole bunch of questions, they may not take the time to reply to it, which means you'll get less writers for your job. So click on next here. And you can throw in like some additional skills to sort of narrow down who you're looking for. I usually go with worldwide here. What I would recommend is that you look in particular for writers around Western countries where English is their first language, okay? So you can get much cheaper rates from writers in India and Pakistan and places like that, but I also tend to find the quality isn't quite the same. And really, if you want high quality content, then you need to focus on writers who speak English as a first language. So we're going to narrow this down to Australia, United States, the good old UK, and Canada, and finally New Zealand. To be fair, on this website, most of my writers come from the UK and also from the US. I don't tend to get many writers from New Zealand or Australia. So let's click on next here. Anyone can find it. If you try to hire a whole team here, then I recommend clicking more than one freelancer, and you can just type in the number here, 10, click on next, pay a fixed price. I usually put a very high budget in here, so even though I'm paying $50 for 2,000 words, the higher your budget is, the more it's going to stand out on a list of job applications, because when most people are advertising with a budget of $100 or $200, putting in $1,500 here makes the job application stand out more, which means that you're going to get more writers applying for your job. And then I usually put it around entry level because obviously the pay isn't amazing. And also, to be fair, writers, they don't need to be the best in the world. They just need to be able to follow your instructions and write at a decent level. So click on next. And here you can review all the details of your job. And once you're done, just click post job now. So once you've posted the job on Upwork, wait 24 hours, and that will give writers enough time to apply for your job advert. And then once you're done, you're going to see something like this on your Upwork dashboard, right? So click on here, click on your job title, and this is actually a position I've already hired for, but we're just going to go through some proposals. And then basically you want to make sure that the writers are qualified and ready to start writing high quality content for your site. So let's go through an example list, right? What you want to be looking for is writers with a high job success score. So anything above 80% is pretty decent. And if you click on the profile here, you can actually scroll through and see their reviews so far, right? But the other thing is as well, you want to make sure that they've included rock at the start of their application, as we discussed before, because then you can actually see, okay, they can follow instructions. And when you give them work, they're actually going to do it to the instructions that you've asked for, right? So this guy, he looks pretty decent. We can message him. Basically, just message him, ask him to write a 100-word sample on a random topic just to gauge the quality of their work. And most writers are pretty open to that. It's only 100 words, usually only takes about 10 minutes to do, if that. And that just gives you an idea of the quality of the work. And if it's decent, then you can start moving on to the next stage. So what I would do is go through this list, filter out the writers you're not sure about. So for example, this person's earned $0 so far. So we'll click the down button there. Keep going through, like this writer, they look pretty good, 100% job success score, they've earned a decent amount. This writer, not so much. Also watch out for the country too. As I said before, I'd recommend only working with writers who speak English as a first language, just so that you get the highest quality possible for your content. And then just go through the whole list, following the steps I've described. And after that, you'll have usually around 10 to 15 qualified writers that you can start talking to. Next up, you're going to create the article outline for your writer to fill in. So this is basically a list of the topics that you want your writer to write about, how many words it should be, how long it should be, what type of keywords to include, all those sorts of things. And bear in mind that on-page optimization is so important now, so you really need to nail this. And that's why I use Surfer SEO for this. It's not a free tool, but you can get a free trial if you just want to try this out and check it out. It's like you can do a $1 trial for 7 days here. And basically, once you're logged in, it's going to look something like this. And from here, you can create a article brief in about 2 minutes. So rather than you doing all the research, wasting your time, or hiring your team to do it, you can pretty much automate the whole process using Surfer SEO. As you can see here, I've created all these article outlines. And the article outline is going to look something like this, right? And as I said before, it's data driven. So they look at all the top ranking websites on the first page of Google, and then they figure out, okay, what's working for your competitors, what word count should you use, how many words should you include, how many headings, paragraphs, images, what sort of keywords, and the topics to include too. So this is all data driven. You don't need to do the research yourself, and it will save you a lot of time. And obviously, don't use this as gospel. Use a bit of common sense as well, because it is a piece of software, and maybe sometimes you'll need to customize it, but it will save you a good amount of time doing most of the research. And for 20% of the work, you get 80% of the results. And if you click in customize here, you can see they've analyzed the amount of traffic and words each of these URLs gets for this search term on the first page of Google. So yeah, it's a very quick and easy tool that you can use. And once you've created this here, your writer can actually go in, you can share the link here, so you can click copy shareable link, and then your writer can go in, write all the content, and you can see it as it's written in real time, so that you can see what your writer is doing, how well they're getting on, and the overall finished product. The content almost works like Google Drive, so you and your team can edit it at the same time, and also it's just very data driven, and it gives you loads of metrics that you probably wouldn't have the time to check if you're doing this manually. What you're going to do next is click on hire next to the writers that you want to hire on Upwork. And once that loads, you're going to send them the server SEO outline that you want them to fill in, along with the job offer. So you can see the details here. Just change this to your server SEO link. You can include milestones. So every time they write a new article, you set it up as a milestone here, along with the due date and the amount that you're going to put in escrow. And bear in mind, the writer doesn't get the money until they finish the content. It actually stays in escrow, so you won't get billed until you have the final product. And yeah, basically hiring a writer is as simple as that. So outsourcing your content is pretty much as simple as that. It's a very quick process, doesn't take long, and it's super simple to do as well. Now, the other thing is as well that you can easily outsource this to one of your team members. I use a virtual assistant, and they can manage the whole process themselves. So it becomes an iterative cycle. Basically, they hire the writer, they outsource to them, they create the server SEO outline, and they do that for each of the keywords that I give them. So I give my virtual assistant a spreadsheet that they can break down in terms of keywords, the outline that they need, the number of words they need, and then all I have to do is set up the milestone on Upwork. And it's as simple as that. And this becomes a cycle which I basically don't need to touch. My virtual assistant can take the content from my writers and then post it straight onto WordPress. And yeah, basically publishing content becomes a very passive and easy process. And that's something I'd recommend to you. And if you're not sure how to outsource it, you could even give your team this video and use it as a training video so that your team knows exactly how to outsource content passively without you even managing the process. So that's it from me, and how to outsource your content so that you never need to write again. Now, obviously, this is a cycle, and you just need to tweak, optimize the process, and keep improving it every week so that you see even better results and making it faster every single time. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below, and subscribe if you haven't already.